In this video, I want to talk about the 4-step process that will take you from where you are in your personal finances to where you want to be. And this works with any financial goal. And these 4 steps, I haven't seen anyone else talking about this, so I'm going to coin this as my own. So let's just dive right into it. I don't want to waste your time. But for a little more context, my name's Chris. I've been an accountant now for 10 years, and I help people level up their own personal finances by teaching them what I did, my wife and I, to pay down $43,000 worth of debt in about a year. And now we have a $1 million net worth and counting. I can honestly say that what we've done worked, and I'm trying to share that with other people right now. So these 4 steps I wish I had when I was sort of progressing through personal finances. And then when I met my eventual wife, like how we were progressing through our personal finances. And I just try to make it as simple as possible for everyone. So I call this the TPAS method, okay? So TPAS method. And that stands for track, plan, adjust, succeed. Now, those are all words that we've heard of, right? So it's not that intimidating. I want to walk through these 4 steps. I want to walk through how they could help reach any financial goal. So the first one is track, okay? And by tracking is the first step in your personal finances. Again, for any financial goal, this is creating a budget. This is tracking your debt. This is knowing how much money's in your bank account. This is knowing your net worth, right? There's a lot of ways to track. You have to start thinking about where you are and where you want to be. And a lot of times the first thing that you need to do is actually to budget, okay? Because you need to know the money that's coming in, the money that's going out, and then more importantly, where that money is going. Because a lot of times you'll find that where the money is going is the problem. And there are ways to kind of look at this and just see if where your money's going aligns with a financial goal or a life goal. Okay, so if you're spending $300 a month shopping on the TikTok store, then probably not reaching a financial goal faster, right? So we want to be able to escalate how quickly we're moving towards a financial goal. Okay, so the only way to get there is understanding the baseline. So again, what money maybe do we have left over at the end of the month? Are we able to spend less in certain categories? Do we have to spend more in certain categories to sort of match a financial or life goal? And the example I like to use for that is health and fitness, right? So if you look at all the money that you spend in health and fitness, you're like, wow, I only spend $25 a month for my health and fitness. Like, this is way more important to me than $25 a month, right? It's like a percentage of what I make monthly or whatever. So you're like, you know what? I need to, whatever the thing is, do more classes, take more supplements, right? Whatever. This is not fitness advice, but you can look at it that way too, because I think a lot of people think that budgeting is this like restrictionary action, and people just eye roll when they think about budgeting. It's like, oh God, I gotta spend less here, and I have to have less fun in my life, and I have to cut. And it's not really the case. That's not really what I want you to think about it. I want you to think about budgeting as being more intentional, right? So, but the first step is knowing where your money's going, and then we sort of play around with it, okay? But that's step 1, track. So I don't want to get ahead of myself and get to the next one, which is plan. Plan is the next step in this TPAS method. So once you've tracked, then you're like, okay, here are my financials, here are my numbers, and then you make a plan, right? And it sounds pretty straightforward, but you're like, okay, based on the amount of money maybe I have left over at the end of the month, or based on the amount of money that I think I can shift around, like, oh yeah, move the TikTok store money over to paying down debt, right? Let's do that and make a plan. Like, I want to be debt-free faster. The one caveat with this is the plan part is all about creating goals. So there's a lot of ways to look at goal creation when in your personal finances. There's 3 different sort of levels. There's short-term goals, there's medium-term goals, and there's long-term goals. So the short-term goals are anything less than a year. Long-term goals are 5 years or more, and then the medium-term goals are like in the middle, right? And what I want you to do is really think about 1, 2, 3 things for each of those levels that you would want to achieve. As you go up, I want the goals to be more and more unrealistic, right? Like, the longer the time frame, the crazier the goal I want you to have. So obviously in the first year, you're not going to say, if you have a net worth of $0, like, yeah, in 1 year I want to have a $10 million net worth. It's like, well, I don't know how reasonable that is, right? But that could be a long-term goal for you. Like, absolutely, throw that in the long-term goal. So, and the best way to think about goals is to make them quantitative, right? Which means that they're it's easy to see if they're being reached or not. So just saying, I want to pay down my debt faster, not a great like financial goal. It's a good idea, like yeah, let's pay down our debt faster, but let's put some either a time frame behind it or a monetary value behind it, or ideally both, right? So one of your goals could be, I want to pay off my $10,000 of debt in 18 months, right? It's like, okay, that's a quantitative goal. And then you look at your budget and you're like, do I have enough money to put towards this right now to pay off the $10,000 in 18 months? So that's the best way to really look at it, okay? Because you gotta make it measurable, and because you need to be able to track along the way your plan, right? So you need to be able to see what's going on with that. Now, as we go up the goal ladder, right? So we have our short-term goals, all of our medium-term goals. I want you to have your medium-term goal, right? So whatever it is, and then chunk it up into many, many smaller goals, okay? So you do that with the medium-term goals and the long-term goals. So if you say, I want to have a $10 million net worth in 10 years, it's like, ooh, that sounds like really tough. But if you don't have like an idea of how you're going to do it, it's probably not going to happen, right? So you need to reverse engineer. So the net worth of $10 million, you need to chunk up in a lot of smaller goals. It's like, well, probably need to increase my income, right? So that's step one. I probably need to reduce my cost of living. I probably need to start investing, right? Because investing is going to be the best way to create value on your money. Saving is not going to do that, by the way. Those are two different words, and that's probably a whole nother video now that I'm thinking about it. But so back to the long-term goals, like you come to this big goal. And I think that's why people don't reach financial goals, is because they think of this thing and they're like, oh, that sounds pretty, yeah, like let's do that. I want to try and do that. But then they don't have a way to like get there. They're not thinking strategically. They're not like chunking it up. Even if it's 100 short-term goals, like chunk it up into things that are more manageable and things that you can actually achieve. So like $10 million net worth, that sounds really hard, but like, could I increase my income? That sounds reasonable. A lot of people increase their income, right? Whether at their job or they get a new job or they start a side hustle or they start their own business, whatever, right? And okay, like people have done that. And then it's like, if I really want this $10 million net worth, am I willing to move from like, say, a higher cost area to a lower cost area? Like people have done that as well. It's a little more extreme because not a lot of people like to do a big move, right? But it's possible, it's solvable. And it's like, okay, how much money would I need to invest to make this happen, right? And you start reverse engineering that. You look at a compounding interest calculator on the internet and you put in all your numbers and you see like if this is even possible with what's going on in my budget right now and the money that I have, right? So it's just like taking your goals and trying to reverse engineer them down. Now, the next part of this T-PASS method is adjust, right? So we've tracked, now we've made a plan, and now it's like, 3 to 6 to 9 months later, and you look back and you're like, you know what? That plan completely sucked. Or that plan is completely irrelevant now because I have surpassed everything or whatever. And you have to sort of tweak it, right? You make a plan and then you get to a certain area and then you're like, ooh, I gotta change it. It's just about understanding where you stand. You have to be realistic, and might be tweaks of your short-term goals that are part of your long-term goal, right? You're like, well, I've actually surpassed like 10 of these short-term goals already. I think I need to think of other ways of how I can like escalate this. And it comes into, you're just always reiterating your plans, which is really, really good. Because you don't want to stay stagnant either. You don't want to, if you're going up slightly with your financial goals, it's like, okay, that's cool. But like, how do we like compound the crap out of this and like keep the jet fuel going on it? But the most important part is just creating a plan that's sustainable for you and you can stay consistent with. So the crazy plans just aren't going to work, and you're definitely going to have to adjust those, right? So if you start reasonable, you can keep going up, and then it becomes more and more unrealistic, but that's how you win. You just like keep shooting for the stars, okay? And the last part of this T-PASS method is succeed. Now, by succeed, I don't mean that, you've won the game and you're a financial guru and like you could stop trying. There are so many levels in personal finances that there's never like an end game, okay? There's always more. So I want you to think of each financial goal, each short-term goal as like a step on the staircase, okay? So by succeed, you've track, plan, adjust, succeed, and then you go up again. Track, plan, adjust, succeed, you go up again. So it's more that you've gained new skills and you've gained more trust in yourself, right? And more confidence. And again, knowledge, and you're moving up the ladder and you're like, yeah, I've crushed this goal. I'm moving up. I've succeeded. Quick little celebration, and then you're on to the next goal. Okay, so there's always a next goal. Even the richest people in the world, they have financial goals, because if they didn't, like, that's just not part of their mindset. They wouldn't just stop. Some people stop, right, when it's enough, but like in most cases, there's never too many financial goals that you can hit. There's always something else at the end of it, okay? Now, if you want to see how this TPASS method works in your personal finances, down in the description of this video, I have a personal finance level up kit, which is a free budget template, debt payment calculator, emergency fund calculator, and a net worth tracker, okay? All completely free. All you have to do, check it out, download it, and I will see you in the next video.